Welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Trevor Scott, and with me, as always, is my best friend, Ben Slim.
Oh, thanks, Bestie. Yeah, I'm Ben. Hi, how's it going?
Good.
What are we doing? Bitstorm.
Yep.
Click pitch?
Click pitch, that'll do.
Fine. We're so fucking professional. Click pitch, for those who are just joining us, is a game where we each have a random word generator in front of us, and on the count of 3, 2, 1, click, we get a new word, and we put those words together. And we think about them for a little bit, and we come up with a game design for your listening pleasure.
And then we heavily edit around it. Okay, 3, 2, 1, click.
Let's do it. Generation.
Scattering.
Scattering. Generation. All right. So, well, I'm going in two different directions on the word generation.
Okay.
Because there's one which is like thinking about, obviously, generations of families.
Yes.
And so you could tell some sort of story or have some sort of interesting gameplay mechanic around, the spreading of generations of hereditary traits across, scattering through like geographical locations. But then generation, there's also just like generating something, like creating something, and how that would be scattered.
I mean, I hear the word scattering, and I don't think of scattering that you were thinking. I'm thinking like Scatman's got a scattering.
Well, I think that's just called scatting. All right. So we're generating scat.
Well, either that.
It's a Scatman generator. Zippity bop bop beep boop zooba dooba doodle up a doop dow.
So I'm actually wondering whether it's a game where you play you play the Scatman throughout different generations. So basically you play his father, his grandfather,
to every
and
generation a Scatman is born.
And they're scattered over the world. Like
they're scattered over the world. So it's literally Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but with Scatman.
Yep.
The Scatman beep 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 zitty beep boo. And that's the first thing they say. Like, as they get called into service, into scat service, they could be in the middle of lunch with their parents. They could be it could be the middle of the night with their loved one. But as soon as it happens, they just yell, "I'm a Scatman!" That's how they know.
Yep.
That they're the new Scatman. It's like the last Scatman died. Fuck.
So I think this is a game kind of like, how Dark Souls has like that never-ending sort of you can die as many times as you want. It turns out that every time that you die, you just there's just a new Scatman that's chosen from the pool.
Right. So yeah, like Rogue Legacy did that too. That like roguelike kind of thing. The whole point was that the next person you play is the descendant of the previous player.
Yeah, but in this case, I like the idea you went down the Buffy route, that there's like a pool of people who are potentials, and they're the potential scatters.
Scatmen. Yeah.
And so they immediately turn into basically Scatman John. Like they immediately like have to put on like a fake mustache and look like him.
It's not just about scatting, it's like the look, the hat, everything.
So I'm trying to think of.
They're just like so. It's kind of. There's also like a Santa Claus, like Tim Allen-esque thing where the mustache just starts growing and like they shave it off and just grows back immediately.
Yeah, I think you can have that right near the start, and you realize that maybe the Scatman potentials pool is limited. So I'm just wondering.
Because just going down the Buffy route, every Scatman also has their Scooby-Doo gang, like their Scooby-Doo-Bop-Bop gang.
Oh, God.
The Scooby-Doo. He tries to just call them the Scoobies, like Buffy does, but he can't stop himself. It's just like, all right, come here, Scooby-Doo-Bop-Bop-Beep-Bop-Doo, Scooby-Doo-Bow. Ah, fuck, I started scatting again, didn't I? So what sort of game is this?
I'm thinking that it's like a Dark Souls sort of fighting combat game, except all your powers are like scat-based.
So yeah, like gameplay-wise, I don't know. I feel like you can do something interesting. Like, what you're saying, sort of Dark Souls. So, like real-time combat with
real-time combat.
Do you actually have weapons, or do you just scat things into existence?
Your hands are sort of going out, and you're sort of doing, as you go, I'm the scat man. You know how he sort of put his hands out and all that sort of stuff. They're just different punches and stuff. So
right.
sort of like a
So you
sort of game.
you attack in time with the scatting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I kind of like the idea of like a Green Lantern-esque thing where he can create things, but again, it is in line with the scatting, so it's kind of all like jagged and it like changes shape with the rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he just like Scooby-Doo-Bop-Shoo-Doo-Bow, and it's like a blast of stuff that's kind of morphing and moving as he scats it out.
Yep. So I'm just wondering, is it like a sort of a comic booky sort of feel to the game? So it's still a third person 3D world, but it's more of a cartoony sort of maybe Fortnite-y sort of looking game.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
Rather than the gritty realism of the Dark Souls.
The gritty realism of the Scatman. He's so gritty. Yeah. Sure. Yes. Yeah, cartoony
then,
kind of works because it's sort of that. I mean, you're making us basically a superhero out of the Scatman.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I like that idea that like every person, so like you die and that calls the new Scatman. And so you watch them, like you get a little scene of like maybe I love the idea that the game starts and you get your usual character creation. And you can create any sort of character you want, but as soon as you like approve the character, they just grow the mustache.
And they turn into Scatman John.
Well, but they still mostly look like themselves, but all the clothes they chose just like shed off them and the hat falls on their head and the mustache comes in and they got a suit and it just, you can't actually do anything about that. But I like the idea that each person actually, they still have their facial features that you created for them, but they always have the mustache.
Until they die the first time and then that character disappears forever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, then you have a new one. Maybe we just start randomly generating them, but, and maybe we have a bunch of little cat scenes, a bunch of little cut scenes. Of these people being called, where they are just eating their breakfast and they're about to put some cornflakes in their mouth, and suddenly it's like, I'm the scat man.
He just shoots cereal across the room at his wife.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like, oh my goodness, you've been called, because this whole world, like, they all worship the Scatman. Because they protect them from the evil.
I'm just picturing now that there's one guy. Have you ever played Battlefield Hardline?
No.
So when you're playing it and you're shooting your weapons and all that sort of stuff, every now and again, when you fully empty your clip and you hit the reload button, it will do like this really unusual, once in a lifetime sort of animation for reloading a gun. One of them is like, you'll see a hand come in over the top and give you a clip, and you put it into your gun.
I've seen the video, yeah.
And so randomly throughout the game, when you die, your person that comes back may have some sort of random occurrence of not being necessarily the Scatman. But
okay.
I know that you didn't mean to say it before, but I like the idea that there's like a Catman.
So like the powers that be just like made a typo.
Yeah. And
it's
so
like, oh shit, the Scatman died. Get him a Scatman. Oh, fuck.
He picks up cats and throws them at people, and that's the weapons for that particular...
For that round. The cat, meow.
He just picks up cats and throws them at people.
I thought you were going to say it was going to be a very different type of Scatman that occasionally gets generated.
Okay. You do get the other type of Scatman, but very, very quickly a safe drops on his head before he can actually throw any scat. Yeah. So it's just... That's just a very small part, but you can play as the Catman.
You can play as the Catman. You can play as the normal Scatman that has nothing to do with feces, unless you count his verbal diarrhea. Shoot up, dick be up, bow.
3 to 1 click. Postage.
Iceberg. Did you say postage?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm picturing that this is in a slightly different world to what we live in.
Mm-hmm.
You play an anthropomorphic penguin.
Okay.
Whose day job is a post.
Okay. Postal worker.
And he is on a trip trying to deliver a package to an iceberg that is floating in the sea.
Okay.
Like it's broken off.
Yep.
And so you can be talking about global warming.
Is the letter
and
addressed
sort of stuff.
to the iceberg or someone on the iceberg?
It's addressed to someone who was living on the part of Antarctica that is now broken away and is floating away as an iceberg.
Yes.
So they're now on a trip across the sea to try and work out trace where this
iceberg
icebergers are gone.
Yeah. So it's kind of the recipient is in another castle situation when you get there and the iceberg's just gone. And there's someone there that's like, no, their house, the chunk of ice with their house on it floated away last week. And so you got to track down the clues. Do you have to like measure the currents of the of the water?
I think it can be sort of like a maybe a Zelda Wind Waker sort of scenario in which you're tracking it down. You've got lots of little islands that you can sort of go by and ask questions of and do little favors for people as you go around. And basically
meet different characters
and sort of get embroiled in like this bigger sort of narrative that sort of goes around.
Embroiled and broiled because of global warming.
Yeah. I don't know. Like the idea
we can explore that a little bit. So so you're sort of thinking that kind of light RPG elements, action based.
Yeah, action based.
What
you get
sort of
drawn into a bigger story.
Have? So they're a postal worker. Where do they?
So they're good at delivering things.
They're good at delivering things. They have a postie bag.
One of the big things that you can have in like that you used to have in the Zelda games were like the fetch quests and those sort of quests that you give one item to one person, then they give you another item, and then you go to the next person and give them the item. And
some sort of puzzle chain or just like fetch quest chain. So what are you delivering? What do penguins get in the mail? Are you even delivering to other penguins, or is it like a polar bear or something?
Yeah, maybe it's a walrus or a
Yeah, I don't know much about.
I don't think there's any polar bears down there. Maybe it's just a really really crazy hermity penguin.
Right. It's a penguin who moved to the other pole from where the penguins are. So you literally have to like travel the whole world.
So I'm picturing that the penguin is good at catching fish, is good at delivering things, is good at sitting on eggs.
Yeah. Those are all skills. Maybe so you just find eggs around the place that you need to like.
Good at marching.
Warm. Yeah.
March of the Penguins.
March of the Penguins. This game's also narrated by Morgan Freeman.
Nah, Samuel L. Jackson from Fast of the Penguins.
Yeah, I don't know where to take it though.
Have I just painted too good a word picture and you don't want to take it anywhere else?
That's it. I just want to play it. Actually, it doesn't sound that interesting. No, just
yeah, fuck you too. More on that one. Spring.
Hornet. Spring Hornet. So it's a large wasp-like creature, like a hornet, and it lost its stinger and it was replaced with a spring.
And in that same accident, it also lost its wings. So it's a platforming game, in which it uses the spring to like jump.
Yes. So yeah, okay. It lost its. Well, maybe it just lost its wings then, because I like the idea of still being able to sting things.
Okay.
Because that's a good kind of verb to have in a game that you don't get to use very often. So, are you thinking like 2D platformer, 3D platformer?
2D.
2D platformer?
I think.
All right. Sort of go a bit retro with it, or is this like beautifully animated, cartoonish, like Cuphead-esque?
Yeah, I now that you've said Cuphead, I like the graphical style of that, except with actual like levels and then finally boss battles instead of just boss battle. Yeah.
And look, it doesn't have to be that necessarily that like sort of style from the 30s and 40s or whatever. Like it can be more modern, but just that sort of animation, that
beautiful animation.
What I like about having a stinger and a spring is I think the gameplay will come from you need to switch whether your stinger or spring is pointing down at any point.
Okay. Yep.
Because like maybe the spring is kind of either out of their abdomen, either on the front or back, like the other side of their stinger. And so you've got the sort of jumping on top of creatures to kill them, but you have to make sure that your sting is down, because if your spring is down, like it hurts you still. But of course, if your sting is down when you try to make a jump, then maybe you take some damage too, or you get stuck in the ground for a second.
Yeah, I'm picturing that you get stuck in the ground.
Yeah, you have to kind of wiggle yourself out, like waggle the thumbstick.
Depending on how big a drop it was. So if it's like a like a Mario ground pound sort of situation, then you're going to come down a lot faster at the ground and get stuck a lot further in. Yeah. But if you've just sort of done a little spring up in the air and landed down, then you're sort of okay.
Well, and then I like the idea of there being times where you do have to slam down with your stinger, obviously, like to get through certain platforming challenges and stuff.
Oh yeah, and I like the idea that you can actually use your stinger to like sort of stick into the wall. If you need to sort of flick yourself up and that sort of stuff, you can actually use your stinger to actually help you climb up a wall.
Yep, that's cool. Yeah, you could bring some interesting moves in there.
Yeah.
Like I like the idea of, there's a section you have to get past. You're so used to springing around now, but there's a section you have to get past that's got very sort of small-ish platforms, and so your spring will actually go off them, right? They're not wide enough for your spring. And so, yeah, you have to get across them by like jumping onto one and then sticking your stinger into the ground. And then maybe when you've got your stinger in the ground, you kind of have to,
pull back to fling
sort
forward.
Of fling forward. Yeah. Like fling yourself forward off your stinger. And so it gives you a very different mode of movement to do that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I'm picturing some of the combos that you could actually start getting together once you've actually got a little bit further. If you happen to stinger into an enemy, you can sort of roll out of it and sort of flick
the enemy up into the air.
Enemy either up into the air or flick it forward into the next enemy and sort of get like a stick figure sort of fighting thing happening. You don't remember if the old stick figure animations?
Yeah.
So if you could get some of that sort of happening with some martial arts sort of things, I think.
Well, because I was thinking
part of it, but you've got other legs. Like you're not just
you're not just a spring and a sting. I was kind of thinking that you'd toggle between the spring and the stinger, but now I'm actually thinking that each one of those is controlled by one of the thumbsticks somehow, maybe, or like holding one of the trigger, like that. The right thumbstick controls one or the other, but you switch between them with the trigger or something, so that you've actually got that analog movement of it to do those sort of like fling moves and stuff. And it also means you can do things like there are certain places where you need to spring off the roof or off an angled wall. Like, so there's actually, the angle matters. Or you need to like spring, off the bottom and then stick to the top, to the roof with your stinger and then like do your fling move or something.
Fling move to get over like a pit sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm thinking the different levels that you're going through. You're going through like an ant level. You're going through like a flower level that you're sort of flicking yourself up into the flowers, and maybe in that flower level you can either have up on top of the flowers. You can have down below on the ground level, sort of sneaking in behind trees and that sort of stuff. And you've got different sorts of enemies that you're fighting.
What's the goal of this Hornet? What are they trying to do?
I think they're trying to get to the other animal that stole their wings.
Oh, so they've been stolen.
Yeah.
What's it? A fucking bumblebee? Fuck those guys and their little buzzy wings. Wanted some real wings. Stole ours.
Yeah.
Stole some Hornet wings.
I'm trying to wonder what other things you can come
Maybe
up
it was
against.
a spider. It's a spider. It's like, look, us spiders, all the humans are afraid of us, but they're getting too complacent. We need some fucking wings.
It's like a spider queen, spider queen with like these massive wings.
Totally. Look, hornets can go big.
Especially those Japanese hornets.
Yeah. So maybe you like this giant hornet. But
they really fuck shit up.
Totally.
I really like the idea that you can actually do some brawling as well, so you can have your two arms or your forearms or whatever sort of beating the crap out of someone. Then you jump up, you stinger down into them, you flick
them over. Yeah.
This one over into that one. There's someone coming from behind, so you beat the crap out of that one.
Well, because there could be a lot of like throwing enemies into each other to like stun them, or a lot of environmental stuff where you need to fling enemies to open to hit buttons. And
so now I'm picturing that it should actually be more of a 2.5D like
Look, I'm thinking
Double
a bit
Dragon Turtles sort of side scroller.
Yeah. All right, that'd be interesting. Actually, there haven't been many like that where there's
not since Castle Crashers.
But even just with those sort of platforming elements as well, like you still bring in some of the platforming stuff. Because I was kind of picturing more of an Ori and the Blind Forest kind of vibe.
Yeah, so was I originally, but now I'm really leaning towards this Double
that's
Dragon-esque.
interesting. I feel like the controls would be really difficult to get right, but if you could get that feeling working well of flinging them in directions. Yeah, I like the idea of like you stick you've got a move where you stick your your stinger into the ground, and then you've got all 6 legs that you can grab people with and throw them around. But of course you can't move.
Oh yeah, you can sort of ground yourself and be ready to like brace into someone else.
Yeah, kind of a defensive move.
As they run into you, you sort of bend backwards, and that gets you to move faster forward.
Yeah, well, but of course if your stinger's in the ground, you've got your spring as well. So like you can have, if someone's running towards you, you use your stinger to brace yourself and just make them hit the spring, and you can fire them backwards at like the rest of the crowd.
So I'm picturing for the bosses, you've got like ant queens. You've got now I really want him to fight a turtle, like this big ass turtle.
Yeah, well, you could do some big boss fights where
it's a house cat.
Yeah, but like big creatures, and you have to sort of attack different aspects of like different parts of them are attacking you at a time.
The penultimate boss is a foot.
And occasionally like a fly swat comes down, and of course the ultimate boss is the spider.
Is the spider with the wings?
Yeah, and that's I mean, and that too. Like I'm picturing sort of this giant big spider with you get multiple legs attacking you at different points, and so you're having to use all these things to like fling one leg back that way and spring the other leg back that way, so you can like get a good shot in to then launch yourself in with your stinger into their face until there's fucking eyes.
Oh God!
I really like that.
I'm now
cool
picturing
stuff.
that you're dismembering like the spider, and you're taking one leg out at a time, and that's in that case that is the health. Like, turns out you can't do anything other than rip the arms and legs off it. Yeah. So it's basically made into just a torso. There are some
really good videos of spiders fighting hornets. This shit's fucking biological, man. We get it. We got it right. We got it down.
Oh, there's going to be fucking there's going to be a snake battle.
Snake, yeah, yep.
Snake, house cat, turtle.
I'm so amused by the turtle though, because like, what the fuck's a turtle going to do against a hornet? Just ducks into its shell. You just got to like
into its shell,
it.
and then does like a spinning attack move where all you've got is like.
I guess maybe it's like a snapping turtle or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. They eat. I don't know what they eat. That's
and do some sort of joke about it being a teenage,
and seems to have ninja moves, and also there's a rat there.
A rat. That's another thing that you can come up against.
Yeah, totally. You find.
I'm just wondering how you can bring in like a warthog and a rhinoceros.
Yeah, we'll leave that for the sequel. Horny Hornet goes to Africa.
The Horny Hornet, awesome.
Yeah,
3, 2, 1, click.
Well, he likes to wear like Viking helmets. What do you think I meant?
I don't know. The sex thing. 3, 2, 1, click.
Yep. Spoof.
Gentle.
Ooh, a gentle spoof.
I was hoping that you were going to say some sort of violent word.
No, gentle spoof. Well, spoof just makes me think of movies like Naked Gun style stuff and like scary movie sort of thing. And look, I know we've done one of those sort of games before, but maybe we can, is there something around a specific genre of game or something that we can like turn into a very self-aware, ridiculous spoof of itself? What's that? What's a genre we haven't really tackled? Maybe like Tetris?
Yeah, we haven't really tackled too many
games.
puzzle games. I'm just wondering if there's a way that you can spoof on all of them and actually have it,
be funny.
Yeah, be funny.
On all the puzzle games or on all games?
On all the puzzle games, but maybe it's... I haven't watched this movie for a long time, but there's a movie that came out in 1992 called Stay Tuned.
Yeah, John Ritter. Right?
John Ritter. Yep. So what I really liked about that movie was that they went through all the different TV channels after he got sucked into this TV world.
Yep.
So I'm imagining that it's a hero player that has been sucked into a video game system, and they have to go through all these different puzzle games as they go from the iPhone, and then they make it their way into a game console, and they go through a couple of different levels. So you can actually have...
so maybe even a little bit of sort of Wreck-It Ralph, like the world inside the game devices.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why Stay Tuned came into my head. I haven't thought about that movie in a long time. But
I remember always, before seeing it, I always asked my dad to get Stay Tuned because from the video store, because that VHS case sitting there was calling to me. And eventually I watched it, and I think I liked it. I don't know. I don't think I've seen it since.
I liked it enough to buy it on DVD, so I can actually watch it tonight if I felt like it.
Right. Well, you did that.
Well, did you watch Bill and Ted after
No,
last
I
episode?
haven't had a chance to.
Yeah, I finished Excellent Adventure last night.
Nice job. All right, so Wreck-It Ralph's sort of stay tuned, kind of different. So are we going to have it that the player has to like play all these different types of games, or it's more just that the worlds and characters from them become the backdrop as you go through on an adventure? In that very Wreck-It Ralph style.
That you have to actually go through like a couple of Candy Crush levels. Like it starts out like a normal sort of
maybe it could be more
match 3.
Well, maybe it could be more that instead of you playing the person or the characters stuck in the game, maybe this game starts out as a regular match 3, or maybe like a kind of a Dr. Mario style thing where there is a little character there off to the side that like does something when you get matches, or I don't know, they do a little dance whenever you make a match 3.
Yep.
But you play a few rounds of this, and suddenly like your game stops halfway through, like no more things keep coming down, and you notice that the character is like not dancing anymore, and it kind of has a weird look on its face, and then starts talking to you, and then decides it's going to escape the game, and it like runs out of the game. So now you're chasing this character through these different games between devices, and yeah, like it runs into Tetris, and so instead of now trying to make like lines disappear necessarily, you're trying to like drop Tetris blocks in the right spot to capture them or something, and then they sneak out, and now they're in Farmville, and you're trying to I don't know, let the cows
Stardew
loose.
Valley.
Yeah, like you could just have
he jumps into the chopper and just flies off.
Star Chopper Valley. Yeah, like you're basically chasing this character now. I don't know what you as a player, what you're trying to do necessarily. I don't know. Maybe there's would come up with some reason why you actually have to chase them. Eventually they find their way out of the device. Like they find their way into the fucking Bluetooth app, and you watch them get like sent away, and then you have to, there's some sort of transition. Like I'm not actually picturing this as a phone game necessarily. And then like they're in your car stereo. I don't know. And yeah, you've got to like turn the dials on your car stereo to turn the volume up to like launch them into the air, because they're literally running across your LCD screen as music's playing, and now it's a rhythm game. I don't know.
I'm definitely picturing that you could have a lot of fun with, you know, it being maybe a PC game or whatever that starts off with, you know, your character looking at his mobile phone and dealing with it going from the character going from, you know, place to place, whether it be to another game console.
Yeah, I could almost picture, that's it, like the game starts and it's kind of, there's a nicely built 3D bedroom, and you see the person on their phone, and it like zooms in onto the phone, and then you start playing the match 3 game, and then you have the little interaction with the player, with the character. They go through a few different apps on your phone until they reach, like the Bluetooth app or whatever, or the Wi-Fi. They reach the Wi-Fi, and then it zooms back out of your phone, right? And you get some sort of visual of, oh shit, they went into like my old original Xbox that's sitting there or something. And then you see them in blocky 3D on the TV screen running through Halo or something. And so you gotta, and I'm just picturing sort of like, not necessarily a fully controlled third person thing then, but like, then the control moves over to, you know, your character goes and picks up the controller, and then your camera zooms in on your TV screen, and now you're playing some stuff in there until they escape that. And, you know, they go through the power cord and end up in your PC, and they're like throwing your mail everywhere, your email.
One of the things that I want to happen,
to your mum's iPad.
Yeah, maybe there's a couple of certain places that you can actually capture this thing, and if you capture them, you get a good ending. The bad ending is if it happens to make its way into the VR headset.
Right.
You put the VR headset on, and it enters your body through your visual cortex and takes over your body.
Takes over your body. Do we put an actual VR element into the game then? Like when your character on the screen, it's like, oh shit, it's gone into the VR. Player, put on your VR headset now.
No.
You have to fight them through VR a bit, and then
that limits how many people they can do that.
That's true.
I like the idea that it's just, you know, okay, well, this must be the next part.
Since when have we cared about limitations? No, you're right.
Yeah,
no, I do like that. You see your character on screen, put on their VR headset, and then you know, somehow play through some VR stuff before they take you over your body, and you get a bad ending.
Yeah.
Until you realize that actually every other person,
bad endings.
Actually, every other person was already taken over by an electrical being, and you were the last one. The last one to be taken over and now you're a piece.
Being like, a character like a Mario. This is not the first game that they've been in. This is like the 17th game that they're
right.
in.
They're already a franchise. Yeah.
And that way they can basically almost have like an indifferent sort of, get the blocks to match and
yeah, they're like totally. Well, maybe that's how you figure out that something's weird. Like initially they're all enthusiastic about it because they're following their programming. And then they're just like, fuck this. This is the most boring game I've been in yet. I want to go back to the kart racing game. How do I get there? And then, that's how they just leave. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's fun. Do you think we can actually get the Mario license?
Oh, fuck no.
It's me. I'm getting out of here.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Jet.
Rapping.
Jet rapping.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a VR game where you get dropped in. There's a full-size fighter jet in front of you, and someone tells you that you're super rich and this is what you got your kid for Christmas, and you have to wrap it. You get rolls of wrapping paper. You have to figure out how to wrap this fucking fighter jet. And so you're literally launching, you hold the loose end and you launch the wrapping paper over the wing, and you have to figure out a way to sticky tape it up. Maybe you get a sticky tape gun, a glue gun.
Yep.
The whole challenge is wrapping it. Maybe that's just one level. Maybe this is a game just about gift wrapping. And so maybe you start smaller, perhaps, to learn the ropes. And you get ropes as well. Sticky tape, ropes, glue, ribbon, of course. Yep. And you get judged on coverage, the cleanliness of your lines, the how elaborate your bow is. And then you get to watch them unwrap it.
And that's the first level?
Well, I'm just saying that, maybe you work your way up to the jet. Maybe you start with... a toaster in its cardboard box.
Yeah.
It's literally a VR game about wrapping presents.
Cool. I've got nothing else to say about that. I got nothing.
We'll call that one a Bitstorm Quickie. 3, 2, 1, clicky.
Romantic.
Lawn. LAWN.
Nice.
Romantic lawn. It's the story of the romance between garden tools, a lawnmower.
I was actually thinking that maybe this is a story set in a neighborhood in which these two older people are actually vying for the best lawn in the street sort of thing.
Okay.
There's a competition.
I just had a really interesting visual of the whole game taking place from a sort of high up, not quite full isometric, but maybe a bit lower than that, angle where you literally just see the front lawn of these two houses with the fence in between them right in the center of the screen.
Yep.
And yeah, the whole game takes place around the lawns of these two people. And
maybe you play maybe as a god game, you try to play both. So maybe you play the garden.
You play the garden. Interesting.
Yes.
So you can sort of make decisions about how things grow or where they grow. What sort of animals stick around.
And it's sort of one of these things in which maybe you're playing like a Cupid sort of character who which is why it's high above, and they're trying to get this couple to actually, fall in love.
Well, I like the idea that you're just playing the lawn. Maybe the two lawns, maybe you get a scene that the grass roots of these two lawns have connected under the ground. And then it zooms up, and now, but these lawns are communicating together, and they need to they want to get these two people together, romantically involved. But they hate each other to start because they are so competitive over their lawns.
What I like is that it's high enough that you can't even tell, what two people they are. You just so you don't even have to actually go to the level of saying that the one on the right is a guy and the one on the left is a girl. You can have it any way.
Yeah. They can
picture it.
Yeah, they can be mostly sort of androgynously pictured. I do like the idea of being able to see people coming and going, though. I kind of got this sense of you see a bit of the footpath as well, and so you see a bit of the road. So you, as this game is playing out, like it's set over different days or something. You see, around the same time every morning, like the paper boy throws the paper, and cars go past and come in and out of driveways, or someone comes to visit, and you just get all these little like dialogues that play out, and choices you can make around the garden.
Your neighbour down the street whose dog keeps on coming to do the business on your lawn. So you've got to like use the sprinkler system to get to
right, yeah,
to get rid of them. And it's sort of then you got like kids throwing frisbees and stuff, and if they come like
they run
lawn,
through your like flower, they run through the flowers
and that sort of stuff,
flower beds.
So the whole thing is that you're sort of playing these two lawns and trying to get your two owners to actually, become friends and maybe start some sort of romantic attachment.
Yeah.
But it's under the guise of a competition sort of thing. So you need to get your lawn looking as good as possible.
Yeah. But throughout the sort of, and maybe there are like contests, like regular, like housing association lawn contests or whatever. And I guess the thing is like, as the lawn, as the garden, what sort of decisions do you have? Like, how do you actually make these gameplay decisions? Is it sort of just little decision trees that pop up now and then that kind of push different factors in one direction or another of how nutrient rich your soil is, or do you get to like decide specifically, like even control like drawing on it, like where things grow, where weeds grow, where flowers grow, and how And how is that going to actually affect
maybe
things?
there's certain things of you got a warning that the rose bushes over here have actually got an infestation of caterpillars, so you've got to try and create some sort of Venus flytrap or something that can actually take care of.
Well, and so how are you doing things to? You obviously need to do things to influence the people as well, like. Do you leave a trail of weeds from the front door to something that they may not have noticed? So that they, when they come out and do their regular weeding, they'll get to that spot sooner or something. Actually, that could be cool. Growing weeds around the place to guide your owners into different places around the garden. And then if they get close enough to, the caterpillar infestation, then, the next day they go out and they buy, poison or whatever. But then that might affect, maybe you've got like how nutrient rich you are or how many pesticides or whatever, and it can affect how powerful you're like the types of flowers you can grow and how, or how many weeds you can grow in a day or different things like that. That could be cool.
Yeah. I like the idea that maybe you can use the absence of growing to actually, pull them into a certain position as well. So basically you can decide to kill off an area of grass.
Yep.
To try and get their attention to come over and do something about the fruit tree.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I like that. Maybe you've got some control over, like, the animals that live in the garden as well. Like, you can kind of ask favors of the worms, to, I don't know, to make a certain area more nutrient rich because you want to make sure that they're tulips,
the beautiful flowers that were just planted there, they're going to grow better.
Yeah, but again, that can be kind of resource management in a way.
Yeah,
I basically see this actually as a resource management game with this narrative overlay. Yeah, that's really cool. Actually, that's a little bit different than what we usually come up with. And
I know, and it's not my usual sort of game either. Like, I'm not a big resource management sort of game.
No, but I think it's different enough and interesting enough that's really fun.
I just so love the idea that you don't even play the people, you play the lawn.
Yeah, you just play as the lawn.
Or the garden.
Yeah, the garden,
as it were.
Yeah.
I so want to see what different things you can do to that neighborhood dog that keeps on trying to come and do a shit on your lawn.
Oh, yeah, that's probably like an ongoing issue. Or maybe you just have to guide the dog to the right place because if they shit in the right place, that's fertilizer.
Yeah.
So you just have to stop them from shitting on the lawn and they have to shit on the flowers or near the flowers that you want to. And that's when you need to bring the worms over, right? Like to use it up, break it down. Yeah.
Turn it into worm shit.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
3, 2, 1, click.
Trash.
Mouse.
Trash mouse. Nice. The trash mouse. No. That's funny because as soon as I said trash, I thought trash panda, which is what they call raccoons.
So what's a trash mouse?
Mouse? I mean, is it just a rat? I guess you could play. Be fun to play as a rat.
Funny thing is, where my mind is going is an abandoned amusement park. I know that we've done this before, but bear with me for a second. And it's an abandoned amusement park where you play the old mascot of the abandoned amusement park.
Okay.
So the mascot was a mouse, and now it's sort of turned into like a trash. Huh?
Appropriately enough, yes.
And basically, this just happened to be a new world that they planned to create for this theme park that was on an island, and it's just been abandoned. And
right.
You're now like the king of trash.
King of Trash Mountain, Trash Island. Okay, so are you? So I like this idea that you just got left behind. Like you were in the mascot suit, you were sleeping on the job because you were able to do that because no one can tell if you lean against the wall just the right way. They think you're working. And then someone comes in and says, "We lost our funding. We're shutting it down. Everybody out." And then you wake up 6 hours later, still in your suit. And then your first reaction is, yes, I'm king of Trash Island. Not how the fuck do I get out of here and find food and stuff. Okay. So is this game coming in sort of years later when this mascot, does this person just like hang out in this suit all the time?
Oh yeah. I want this to be like a really, really ratty suit by the time. Oh yeah. We actually.
Pun not intended.
Yeah. So it's like got stains all over it and it's like all totally kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
The idea being that new developers are coming to actually renovate the place,
tear it down,
and tear it down, and basically clean it up and just get it back to working sort of thing. So it turns into sort of like a stealth game in which you're playing like
a mouse, but
you're playing like a mouse mascot and trying to like scare people off because this is now your home.
Yep. Okay, I like that.
You liking it?
Yeah. So you're doing the typical like abandoned amusement park stuff. I love the idea that it's like, all right, these guys are going down into the basement to check some stuff out. I'm going to go in the back way. I'm just going to stand completely still in the room that I know they're going to go into. And then when they're close, I'm just going to move one hand. And they're going to run screaming out because there's no lights down there. They've just got their torches.
And the big knife helped as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Like you have to wait. Like they sort of move the torches across you and you're just standing there. But after the torches move past, you have to make sure it's like, all right, now pull out the knife. So that when they move the torch back again, you're still just standing completely still. But now you're holding this fucking giant chef's knife.
I like the idea that you're not a murderer. So you're not trying to. Yeah. You're not trying to kill them. You're just trying to scare them enough.
Yeah, totally.
But if you don't do a good job in scaring them, they actually start hunting you. But if you freak them out enough, then you can actually scare some of them off the island.
Yeah, you want to be convincing. Yeah, that's right. You get a count of like how many workmen and stuff are on the island at any point, and how many you've scared off by effectively creeping them the fuck out. You know, turning the carousel on late at night when they're working. I guess what do you?
And changing the just slightly. Being able to change the speed of the music,
yes,
that's actually playing, so it's going faster and slower, and just gets that sort of peak creepiness value. Yeah.
So is this is it sort of semi-open in what you're able to do, or is it kind of set pieces where you have to sort of figure out for any set of particular
I like the idea that it's event based. Set pieces.
Yeah, I think it'd be too hard to do as just an overall.
You get some sort of decision as to which one you're going to do at which time.
Yeah, okay. And failing doesn't necessarily mean just start again. It just means for the next one there's going to be more people left.
Yeah, so there may be 5 people on the next one that you've now got to try and be able to move in the right place and
it makes it harder to
right time and
to do the stealth stuff. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's cool.
So I'm thinking definitely not VR.
No.
Because
I think just like third person.
And...
because you want to see that fucking great suit all the time.
Oh, yeah. And the fact that, from the beginning, you're going to have, like, photo mode.
Yes, where you can just set up these great shots of this fucking creepy-ass ratty mouse costume. Like, perched over the top of these workers, like, trying to, I don't know, whatever they're doing, putting up scaffolding or something.
Oh, I'm just now imagining, you've got that scene, yes, down in the basement, but you've also got, like, the scene on the roller coaster in which... they basically, a couple of them have decided to just see whether the roller coaster still works. So the idea being that you've got to try and stop it as it's in the middle of the loop-to-loop.
Right. Okay. So there's the timing,
and so they're upside down, and that's when you walk out onto the
roller coaster where it's all lit up,
onto the roller coaster, and they look down, and you're just standing there, and it's like you got a knife out.
If you've got if you've one of those cartoony Roadrunner signs that just says "Get out," like you're standing there for a second, they're looking at you, and they're like, "What the fuck is that?" And then you just pull the sign out from behind your back. Get out.
Get out. Okay, so I guess we're leaving. What else can you sort of do? Dodgy electrical work.
Yeah, well, I think just having these
flicking light switches on and off.
Basically, these levels where. Yeah, like it is event based. You've got different levels that you can do at different times, and a lot of it is just stealth. A lot of it's stealthing around to turning off lights so you can get through areas, and then because for example in the Ferris wheel one you have to stealth to get to the control panel at the right time without being seen. So maybe you have to like turn off some other lights to do that. You can throw things to distract
maybe you can
people.
Set like a timer.
Yeah, that could be a timer. That could be cool
to turn the lights on and off. So basically, you got to get into position at this time, and then
there's a bit of
disappear again.
There's a bit of gadgetry and pageantry to it, like obviously because you're trying to make it this big thing to scare them. So yeah, but having little gadgets to turn on and off lights or make sounds at certain points
and turn the spotlight on just so you get that silhouette of your ratty, like head displayed behind these people, and then it turns off and on again, and you're not there anymore. And
so good, yeah, I love it.
I would love for, like, if you think of Disney World, like, I believe that there's areas of the theme park in which if you enter into, it's not seeable from the outside, but basically you can sort of see in, like, through, like, one-way mirrors and that sort of stuff. So I'd love to have, like, these secret passages that you can, which is normally where the mascots would actually...
Yeah, like, that's how they get around. So they've got all these ways. Yeah, totally. These characters got all these ways to get around between these places around the park without being seen. And look, some of them are broken down and stuff, and so you have challenges around. Oh yeah, and
you've totally been lax in keeping
the whole place
the passageways clean. So
the place is falling apart.
I like the idea that sort of like a Zelda game in that you got to unlock certain items to be able to get to 3 different obstacles. Yeah, that maybe as you go, you find something that will unlock another secret passageway to get to another set piece.
So there's a little bit of kind of Metroidvania-ish, once you solve certain things, it opens up different parts of the level.
Different parts of the park.
Yeah.
And, you can have it that some of those things don't necessarily have to be an item, but it can be the people that you were scaring, like, they happen to unlock a different part of the park. So now you have to go to that other part of the park because you now have a reason to go there. I'm imagining now a great sequence within the Tunnel of Love sort of thing.
Yep.
So I'm now picturing that there's some, maybe an early part is like you've got teens and stuff like that who keep coming to the island, but then later on in the game you get the developers, the property developers.
Right. Okay. Along. Yeah. So maybe, that's good. At the beginning, it's a bit more. It's just the people like urban exploring and stuff.
Yeah, and so the early lots of scaring, you're scaring these people off, and they're sort of disappearing, and you're making a more reputation for yourself depending on how well you scare them and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But then when the developers come, your whole thing is now, well, all the scaring of the teenagers, that was one thing. This is now, this is the real final test.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I don't know. I really like that again.
That's cool. I do. I like that a lot.
it's very different to what we'd normally do.
Yeah, that's cool.
3 to 1 click.
Chip.
Road.
So you're a guy named Chip.
Well, I'm just wondering, is this a tie-in to the TV show Chips?
Or is it a tie-in to that old movie Chip about the robot boy?
Okay, so it's a road movie based on like an android sort of like Short Circuit.
Okay, yep.
The robot's name is Chip, and
not quite human. That was actually the name of the movie that I was thinking of, but the teenager was called Chip. All right. Okay. So it's a road movie. I like that. A road game.
A road game. Yep. I'm picturing it sort of like the inventor of this sentient robot is moving like cross country.
Okay.
And something happens along the way. You know, Box sort of gets a bit jostled and then falls out the back.
Yep.
Of the truck. And now you're just a sentient robot that has to make his way back to.
I like the idea that you maybe have to
back to the owner.
You have to assemble yourself to start with. You actually weren't fully assembled in the box.
Yep.
So yeah, you like wake up and you see half of your parts like spread across the road, and you have to like.
So I think the sort of parts that you don't have are like the higher capacity battery. So your first thing that you got to do is work out how you're going to get power.
Well, I like the idea that maybe you've got some level of solar power. Just because you don't want to just, like, if they haven't found the high-capacity battery yet.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want it to just, be done. But you've got like a day-night cycle. Yeah, exactly.
You've got that sort of, scariness of, oh my God, am I actually going to be able to make this? You can program something in, like, rather than real-time clock, you can have, event-based.
Yeah, it could be event-based for sure. Yeah, I like that. I do like that a lot, actually. There aren't many games telling that sort of story. Like, it just seems a very simple story. You're just a teenage robot and you're trying to find your way back to your dad because you fell out of his truck. So, yeah, okay. So find your battery. How do you do that? You go around, like, meeting people, like, knocking on houses. How passable are you as a human? Like, how obvious is it that you're a robot? I mean, I guess initially maybe you're missing some parts or something that make it very obvious.
I think this is actually a world where, like, robots to do menial tasks are like pretty commonplace.
Okay.
So it's sort of like a place almost like every place has like a Rumu sort of.
So are there humanoid robots though? Then.
Yeah, I think there's other humanoid robots.
Because I do like the idea that you just get mistaken for like a service bot.
Yep.
But you're sentient. Like, you're the only sentient one.
Yeah, so you're making decisions. You're not actually going based on.
Maybe it's not that you're like the inventor made you sentient. Maybe it's just when you fell out of the truck, it like knocked something loose in your head, and now you're sentient. So they're going to be really fucking surprised when you show up. To them, you're just a service bot. Maybe you get there. Maybe the whole thing is like this fucking teenage robot is like, oh, my father must be this great inventor. I'm gonna track him down. It's gonna be this grand reunion. And you get there and
he's already replaced you.
Well, no, yeah, well, he's just a truck driver. He just worked for the company that sells these things. He's just like some dude. he's like, you made, they garnished my wages because you fell out of my truck, you little shit.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I mean, I assume you make friends along the way, and you have dialogue puzzles and stuff. You have to convince people that you're not a service bot, or maybe you have to act as a service bot to get from place to place sometimes. I'm thinking of fairly story heavy.
You can't afford the bus ride all the way there, so you can do some menial tasks to get a little bit of money to actually get enough for a bus fare to get.
Or
get
you can just you can pose as like a government assigned service bot to help the elderly, so you get the free trip. But you have to make sure not to say anything that would give it away that you're not actually a service bot. And they just think you're malfunctioning if you start acting too sentient.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's neat. That's cool.
My head's just.
I'm
gone
picturing
to,
almost a Quantic Dream kind of thing. Actually, a bit of Beyond Two Souls, a bit of Detroit Beyond Human kind of stuff. Yeah, I feel like that could work quite well. Actually,
maybe you're
just
playing different
characters
or just the one character.
No, I think just the one character, but I think that it just work well with the sort of the different dialogue stuff. You're basically just telling a story, but it's
like a
interactive
fully
in different
animated
ways,
visual
and you
novel.
can,
Sort of
and
like
you can take different paths through it and get different endings and stuff. But very, very well animated, very well rendered, and I'm just picturing sort of a scene on the bus where you're now on the bus with this old man, and you're having to do quick time events to not say the wrong things, not give away your sentience.
And then you get to the end of the bus trip, and he goes, "I'm a Scatman," and he just
nice.
I had to bring it back.
That was good.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I think that'll do for today's Bitstorm.
That will do for it. Yes. Thank you for joining us, everybody.
I'm the Scatman.
No, you're not. Anyway, not yet. If you want to find us on the internet, we're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as BitstormCast. We are on Podchaser, podchaser.com/Bitstorm. We have a Facebook group, facebook.com/group/Bitstorm. And we're on YouTube as well. You can just search for Bitstorm there. Our point-click repeat videos are up there where we're playing through adventure games from our past. Check them out. We've done a few space quests. We've got one in the can. That's coming soon-ish.
1.5 in the can.
1.5 in the can. It's a lot of fun.
We're on iTunes, where you can rate, review, and also subscribe to us there. We do have a website, www.bitstormcast.com. Hopefully that'll be fixed in the next couple of days. But,
yeah.
Like to plug the AGPN, the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. Just search Twitter for AGPN or the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network on Facebook. Finally, we'd like to thank Kuradust for the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure.
Indeed. So, yes, thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott. I'm the Cat Man.